This episode of TechNewsDay is sponsored by Stitch Fix and Caviar.
Yum. Let's start things off today with an absolutely wild story about a big tech company that I don't think we've ever really had anything to say about, good or bad, despite it being one of the oldest sites on the internet. eBay. Turns out a bunch of major players at the OG e-commerce giant have been charged with some serious crimes by the federal government. And usually when you hear about crimes being committed by people in the tech industry, it's stuff like patents or stock market, stuff, white-collar crimes. Yeah. This is not that.
No. So about a year ago, an e-commerce newsletter run by a couple in Massachusetts published an article about some litigation that eBay was involved in. Pretty standard stuff. If you're covering tech news, that often involves covering lawsuits. You see it here.
Yeah.
It's unclear specifically what sort of litigation they wrote about, but we'd assume it was something that made eBay look very bad. So, in response, two unnamed eBay executives sent messages to their security team that it was time to take down the people behind the newsletter. Ominous. Sir, could you be more clear about that? Because am I using the keyboard or the gun?
Listen, you take them down. I don't want to hear about it, but...
Take them down.
Wink. Wink.
They were also particularly interested in one of the newsletter's frequent commenters, known as Fidomaster, who they believed was also running a parody Twitter account that would often hijack official eBay Twitter threads. The ultimate crime.
No, that's not the real eBay support account. It doesn't have the check mark.
They're ruining our multi-billion-dollar business.
We need to take down this parody account.
What do you mean by take down?
Take them down.
I don't get what you telling me to cut their throats or unplug their internet.
So what followed was a coordinated campaign to absolutely terrorize these people, run by eBay's Senior Director of Safety and Security, eBay's Director of Global Resiliency, and 4 other eBay employees involved in security and/or intelligence, all of whom were charged on Monday with conspiracy to commit cyberstalking and conspiracy to tamper with witnesses. According to these charging documents, this started with efforts to use SEO to bump the newsletter stories further down in the search results. Pretty basic. Mm-hmm. Then it progressed to sending threatening letters to the victims' homes.
Wow.
Then actually going to their home and writing the username Fidomaster on the victim's fence.
We know who you are. That would be terrifying to wake up to.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, that wasn't it. They really kicked things up a notch next. James Baugh, eBay's Senior Director of Safety and Security, showed the rest of the harassment team a clip from the 1988 teen comedy Johnny Be Good, in which 2 characters arranged for the delivery of a bunch of unwanted items to the home of their football coach, including a bunch of pizzas, an elephant, a male stripper, an exterminator, and some Hare Krishna missionaries. Baugh said he wanted to do something similar to the victims in a way that couldn't be traced back to eBay. So they invested in a bunch of prepaid debit cards, VPNs, and phones and laptops specifically for the harassment campaign. And my first question when I talked to Elliot about this whole thing, and we already mentioned it, but I was like, did this happen in 1999 or something? And no, and as we heard at the beginning of the video, this was very recent.
Summer 2019. Yeah.
Which makes it even crazier to me.
And I love, so he showed them the clip from that movie. He was like, we're going to do this. There's multiple other examples in this 50-page court document where he's like, all right, what we're going to do next, I'm going to show you this clip from the movie Old School. So we're going to do that. And then there's here's this Leonardo DiCaprio movie from 2010. We're going to do kind of what they're doing in here.
Okay, guys, have you seen Revenge of the Nerds? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wife into a bounce castle and pretend that I'm her husband.
Yeah. I'm going to put on a scream mask.
All right, maybe that's going a little too far.
All right. Anyway, yeah, packages that were sent to the victims included a Halloween mask of a pig covered in blood, a pig fetus preserved in a jar, a book titled Grief Diaries, Surviving the Loss of a Spouse.
Oh my God.
A package of fly larvae and live spiders, another package of live cockroaches, and a funeral sympathy floral wreath.
All purchased on eBay, probably.
No, actually they used Amazon for most of this stuff.
Okay, good, I guess. You don't
really
shit where you
throw
eat.
them off the scent.
Yeah.
Also, issues of the porno magazine Hustler Barely Legal were intentionally sent to 2 of the victims' neighbors, but addressed to the victims. Just
my God.
Oh, whoops.
That's insane.
Yeah. The victims also received a bunch of angry, threatening messages from anonymous people online, but they were eBay employees. Their email accounts were flooded with newsletters that they didn't sign up for, including from the Satanic Temple and the Communist Party. And the victims at one point received a voicemail in response to their supposed interest in opening up an Adam and Eve sex toys franchise.
Diabolical. Honestly, diabolical.
But also juvenile.
Yes.
These people...
These are high school pranks.
Yeah, these are high school pranks.
Yeah, clearly
being done
influenced
by a billion-dollar company against some bloggers.
Well, listen, I'm just happy for everyone's sake that the head of the securities team read "take them out" like this instead of any other way.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, the goal of this harassment was not only to scare and demoralize the victims, but also to figure out just who the hell was behind the damn parody account, who the eBay team was convinced personally knew the victims. The plan was to eventually approach the victims and offer to help them deal with the harassment they were receiving in exchange for that person's identity, a strategy which the charging documents refer to as the White Knight strategy. Cool. They also decided at one point to fly 3 members of the harassment team out to Massachusetts to personally install a GPS tracker on the victim's car while other team members monitored police communications to make sure the coast was clear, though their plan was foiled by the fact that the car was locked inside the victim's garage.
Damn it!
Why did we anticipate this?
So the next day, they planned to just go ahead and actually break into the garage to install that GPS tracker, but before they had a chance to do that, they noticed one of the victims out driving. So they decided to tail them. The victim noticed, though, and called the cops, which the eBay people, of course, knew about because they were monitoring the police communications. So they headed back to their hotel. Those 3 harassers then went and spent $750 on a seafood dinner and discussed ramping up their harassment campaign. Throwing around a few ideas, maybe deliver some chainsaws and human shit and dead rats, or sending an emergency plumber to their house in the middle of the night.
You know, anything.
Just real high-level seafood dinner ideas here.
We hired these people from 4chan.
Yeah.
What they ended up doing, though, is just ordering a bunch of pizzas. They are from 4chan. Pizzas to the victim's house, and they posted a Craigslist listing for a week-long party at the victim's address. Another Craigslist post saying that they were having an estate sale, and another saying they were interested in group sex. Then they stepped up the anonymous online harassment, including posting the victim's home address on Twitter and sending DMs asking if they'd received their gifts. They also mailed more porno mags to the victim's neighbors, addressed to the victims, of course. They also tailed the victim's car again, but bailed when they noticed the victim taking pictures of their rental car. And a few days later, they tried to surveil the victim's house again, but left when they noticed some undercover cops parked in the street. What do you mean people are onto us?
Shit.
They literally gave them all the clues.
We were so tactical.
Yes.
Yeah, so they then, getting a little worried here, so they drafted up a fake internal document claiming that the victims were making threats against eBay executives, and they planned to use that in case the local police caught them. Like,
why didn't you just take this to court like a normal person? Why are you harassing people?
Don't think about it too much.
Yeah.
They also, they came up with alibis for why any of them had been in this random Massachusetts town at that time in case, it was traced back to them. It all started falling apart from here. The cops, they did trace that license plate of the rental car that the victim photographed back to one of the eBay employees. So the police started reaching out to the harassment team members. They denied any knowledge of the harassment, but they offered to assist in the investigation. But yeah, the cops, they were definitely pursuing the possibility that eBay employees were behind the harassment. And they reached out to eBay's legal department, who, unaware of the harassment team's actions, they were happily cooperating.
Yeah. Anyways, long story short, despite their best efforts to evade the eBay legal department's internal investigation into the whole thing, within about a month of the beginning of the harassment campaign, most of its members were fired and their internal communications were then handed over to the FBI. So, sounds like this was just a rogue element at eBay, right? Well, in the legal document, 2 unnamed executives referred to as Executive 1 and Executive 2 are painted as the ones who spurred this whole thing. And according to outlets like Bloomberg, Executive 1 was eBay's then CEO, and Executive 2 was eBay's then PR chief. So,
Ooh.
Yeah, very high level.
Yeah.
They're not tied up in any of the criminal proceedings, but they were the ones who essentially told eBay's security department to go deal with these newsletter bloggers by any means necessary.
Just take care of it.
Both men, quote, parted ways with eBay not long after the rest of those people lost their jobs, and they walked away with some huge settlements.
Good, great,
yeah,
awesome.
Wonderful.
Yeah, this whole story, it's absolutely wild. Hopefully we get even more details about it if and when any of these very smart people decide to plead not guilty and take things to trial.
I need to see a Netflix series ASAP.
Yeah. Despite how ridiculously incompetent the whole operation was, the enthusiasm and willingness of everyone involved seems to indicate this might not have been the first time any of these people engaged in any of this kind of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you wonder how many Silicon Valley companies are having their security teams just harass the shit out of their critics.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a sort of something involving Tesla similar to this going around for about a year now. One of their whistleblowers out in Nevada has been claiming that like the head of security at the Nevada Tesla plant has been making his life hell for like the last year.
Yeah.
And at the time I heard it, I was like, I don't know, maybe this guy's I'm now 100% convinced that he is telling the truth.
I mean, I hate it, but I also sort of love the idea that, like, you know, back in the 50s or 40s or whatever, people would literally send, like, dudes to beat up someone.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like we put actual shit in a whoopee cushion and sat it on their car driver's side, so when they sit on it, not only does it fart, but it shits all over the place.
Yeah. Better think twice about blogging.
I mean, this is literally like if it would be like Home Alone if Kevin McAllister just did nothing but call the cops. It's like these two idiots are out causing a bunch of trouble.
Yeah. But I mean, like, in the show Silicon Valley and in the show Devs, the head of security for these tech companies are painted as, especially in Devs, which is a serious show, the head of security is the scariest character in the show. Mm-hmm. He's like a fucking sociopath who will get the job done by any means necessary. And I was like, I don't know, this is a bit over the top. Like, this guy's committing murder on behalf of this tech company. But pretty plausible.
Yeah, I guess.
Now.
Like I said, I'm just glad these people read it the right way and not...
Take care of it.
Yeah.
Do away with them.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on now to your regularly scheduled COVID-19 update. Cases here in the U.S., they're very much back on the upswing, baby.
Yeah.
To be clear, this is not a second wave. The first wave, it just never really went away.
No.
And yeah, it looks like things are only going to get worse considering how many people in this dumb country are absolutely against the idea of simply putting on a mask when they're in public. We showed you some clips from the Orange County Board of Supervisors meeting on Weekly Weird News a few days ago, featuring a cavalcade of Karens complaining about mask requirements. And now, to make you cringe yet again, here's a clip from a recent Ventura County Board of Supervisors meeting.
Are you going to be wearing masks when you come in? Are you going to obey that city? And if not, then how in the world are you expecting any of us to obey anything that you say? I protest face coverings. I am a healthy American. I used to be free. I am not a terrorist. I am not Antifa. I am not a sex slave that wears masks. I am not into sadomasochism and bondage. I am not a burglar. I am not a pandering politician like we see here and here and here and here. I am a proud Trump Republican, yearning to be free again. Who are you, victim or victor? If you are offended by anything I have said, by the masses of people, then I am offended by the masses of people who do not question your wholesale slaughter of our constitutional and inalienable rights. Shame on all of you. Let liberty ring. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the oceans to the prairies to the mountains, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Let liberty ring!
Thank you for your comments.
And it's Baber, Deborah Baber.
Thank you very much.
You should know better.
The next item is...
But hey, this country has we just got to power through it, right? I guess. And that includes, of course, bringing professional sports back as soon as possible. The NBA this week announced their plan for resuming their 2020 season, and it involves basically moving most of the league to Disney World to compete in a trimmed-down version of a normal season, which would have been ending right about now.
Yeah.
Would have been in the finals. Starting at the end of July, the 22 teams that ranked highest before the league shut down, they'll each play 8 games over a 16-day period, which will then lead into what sounds like a normal version of playoffs. But at this point, the season would have been over. Just cancel it. It would be easy.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I love watching sports. Even more so now whenever it comes back. I'll be like, you know what? I took you for granted last time. Not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
But it just seems a bit silly considering the regular season would be starting up in another couple of months anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, under this new plan, they're calling it the NBA bubble. Players and their families, along with coaching staff and other essential crew members, they'll completely take over 3 Orlando resorts, and all games will be played in arenas at the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex. Players will arrive and be immediately quarantined to their rooms until they test negative for COVID-19 twice, 24 hours apart. And following that, they'll be tested regularly. Players, they'll have to wear wearables, I think wrist wearables that act as their room key, their wallet, and also a proximity alarm that tells them if they've spent more than 5 seconds standing within 6 feet of another person.
That's cool because Disney in Orlando has those things, so they're probably just using their actual tech.
Yeah.
Where it's like you just walk up and pay with your wristwatch.
They'll have to wear masks most of the time unless they're eating, working out, practicing, playing games, or in their room. And also they'll be wearing these like smart rings on their fingers that can supposedly detect early signs of COVID-19 infection. Also, and if they leave the bubble, which is basically the resort they'll be at, they'll then face a 10 to 14 day quarantine upon returning, that's like half the season. So
yeah,
don't do it.
The rules against things are pretty funny when you read down into it. It's like, okay, you can play table tennis, but no doubles.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
You can play cards, but you have to throw away the deck like after every game.
Yeah, I know that I have the Fitbit, and it has like that early COVID detection like beta software on it where it can like tell by your heart rate and how it fluctuates or something like that. I don't know, but whatever. Anyway, so far it doesn't sound especially fun for any of the players.
No.
Especially compared to real normal life.
This is like basketball prison.
And yeah, they're not technically required to be involved if they don't want to be. And a lot of players have been very vocal about not wanting to be involved, both for the sake of their own health and because they don't want sports to be a distraction from the Black Lives Matter protests happening around the country. And I would hope just setting a bad example for thinking that things are getting back to normal with the whole COVID-19 thing.
Yeah, it's to the NBA, to their credit, they give players a lot of freedom of speech, and they've been using it. Like Kyrie Irving appears to be the head of the "Don't fucking do this" pack, and he's been just like having like 100 player Zoom calls where they're like strategizing about it. But LeBron really wants to play. I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be fucking weird. Like, they're going to go through all this trouble to do like a legit season, but
it's not even be that good.
Yeah, and it's going to have a fucking asterisk next to it forever. Like a lot of people aren't even going to consider this a real season. So like, whatever.
LeBron wants to do it because it's the only way Lakers are going to win.
Yeah.
Let's be completely
it's a golden
honest.
opportunity, and he's got a point.
Yeah. But anyways, for the players who do want to participate, there's going to be plenty of amenities, like a players-only lounge featuring lots of TVs and video games, hopefully that are scrubbed down after each use, along with golf, swimming pools, hiking trails, and daily entertainment like DJ sets and movie screenings. It is at Disney, after all.
Yeah. Not allowed to golf with a caddy, though. You got to carry your own clubs.
There you go. Disney will even apparently be screening movies that haven't been released yet, like Black Widow, which...
Do you hear that, Kyrie Irving?
Yeah, you get to see
unreleased Disney movies.
I sent this to you the other night when it broke, and I was like, this is kind of sad because this is what they do for Make-A-Wish kids. Yeah. They're like, please, I'd really like to see the new Toy Story before I die.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like almost with this. And the other thing is, man, they separated the resorts based on like the standing of the team.
Yeah, there's like a class, B class, and C class resort.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. We'll see if it even happens, but
European soccer's already back. Manchester City played yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that. One of the interesting things about this NBA thing, though, is like a bunch of the coaches noticed that according to the criteria of like reopening the NBA, they like do not qualify because they're too old. Like a lot of these coaches are in their 70s, and they're like according to this document, I'm not allowed to coach my team.
They need to put the iPad on that robot that walks around. They can get into the circle with everyone and coach.
Yeah, it's I don't know. This whole thing's fucking crazy.
It seems like a lot of work for basically no reward, other than people getting to watch subpar basketball games. I mean, just do the D-League. That's over the summertime anyway, isn't it? Or the B-League or whatever they call
D-League. Well, G-League because it's Gatorade League now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, that happens over the summer anyway, so...
I don't know.
And that stream's free on Twitch anyway.
This whole thing is fucking weird.
Yeah.
But hey, basketball. It's coming back. And the MLB, they're negotiating their whole thing right now. And that one's another just absolute shit show. No one can agree on anything.
This is like I've said before, this 2020 is going to be
not a real year.
When we're all very, very old and you're talking to like your kids or their friends or anyone, someone's like, hey, tell us about 2020. My immediate reaction is, dude, okay. Yeah. You got to hear what happened in this year. It's going to be like one of those stories like my dad tells me about watching the moon landing or something. Like
that's a little more exciting.
Well, that's way more exciting, but it's like one of those like crazy moments in life that is you cannot understand it or wrap your head around the actual like everything that was going on unless you lived through it.
Yeah.
Like 9/11.
People aren't going to, they're going to be like, wait, but why didn't people just do what the doctor said? Like, well...
Okay, so you know in a zombie movie when like someone gets bit but they just try to hide it at the detriment to the entire group?
The entire society.
Yeah, we learned during the pandemic that everyone is only out for their own personal happiness and they don't care about anyone else.
But wait, all these other countries, they just did what they were told and...
Well, no, you got to see, we knew this in America for a long time, that it's a highly individualized country. Yeah. But there was never really a really good, solid way to prove that everyone was an asshole.
Okay.
Usually it was just the rich were assholes, but now we know that everyone, regardless of financial state, is only out for their own personal well-being and doesn't care about anyone else.
Yeah, it's, I just want it all to be over with.
Yeah.
Just end it. Anyways, moving on now. We are going to toss over to Phil in a minute to hear about what the hell happened with the T-Mobile network earlier this week. But before we check in on him, this episode is sponsored by Stitch Fix. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be great if every clothing store you shopped at had only your size, what styles you like, and at the price you want? Well, Stitch Fix is a company focused on making that happen. Stitch Fix is an online personal styling company that makes getting the clothes you love effortless. It's a completely different way to shop. It's all about you every time. To get started, go to stitchfix.com/newsday to set up your profile, and they'll deliver great looks personalized just for you in your colors, styles, and budget.
You pay a $20 styling fee for each fix, which is credited towards anything that you keep. Schedule at any time. There's no subscription required. Plus, shipping, returns, and exchanges are easy and free. Stitch Fix does all the hard work for you, making great style effortless for everybody, including men, women, and kids. So get started today at stitchfix.com/newsday, and you'll get 25% off when you keep everything in your fix. That is stitchfix.com/newsday for 25% off when you keep everything in your fix. stitchfix.com/newsday.
And this episode is sponsored by Caviar.
Mwah.
Don't feel like cooking tonight? Or maybe you're just not that good at cooking.
Yeah.
Well, get the Caviar app and get local restaurants delivered right to you. Their curated list of options offer quality meals with the convenience of in-app ordering. There are a lot of delivery apps out there, but Caviar is the go-to place to find local restaurants that can be delivered right to your doorstep.
Caviar is available in over 25 major U.S. cities, and there are plenty of options to choose from. With the Caviar app, you can get the food you actually want, from breakfast tacos to margarita pizza to a falafel sandwich. You can find quality food for whatever you're in the mood for on Caviar. So get the Caviar app, get delivery, and get the food you want.
And just for our viewers, Caviar is offering $10 off an order of $20 or more. All you have to do is put in the offer code NEWSDAY at checkout. That is $10 off a purchase of $20 or more with offer code NEWSDAY. Download Caviar on the App Store or Google Play Store and use the offer code NEWSDAY for $10 off an order of $20 or more. All right, Phil.
Fill us in.
Hey, so something weird happened to me Monday. I was trying to sign into a website and they sent me, a verification code via text, but it never arrived. So I tried again and again and again. And after 5 attempts, just nothing. So I assumed it was on their end and hopped on Twitter because I have no attention span. Pop over to what's trending and there it is. T-Mobile is experiencing a nationwide outage. As a T-Mobile customer, this all tracks for me. So I keep scrolling through Twitter and that's when things kind of stopped being fun. There were reports of all 4 major US carriers suffering outages. I start to see some other stuff. I take a deep breath and did the equivalent of opening the basement door in a horror movie. I searched Twitter for DDoS and promptly ruined my afternoon. Thousands of tweets, mostly garbage meme reactions, but thousands of tweets in result to DDoS. Then I started seeing the maps. YourNon Central reported that all the carriers are down. Tons of rando accounts posting videos of cyber attack maps that look like the world is ending. California Rep Ted Lieu popped off with, in light of this DDoS attack, you're a reminder that real Donald Trump eliminated the cybersecurity coordinator position at the NSC in 2018. And in 2019, at least a dozen high-level officials resigned from cybersecurity mission established under Obama. So now it's political, and oh man, then I see the down detector image and lots of major sites are knocked offline. I'm not feeling great about stuff. And then, it is anonymous, but YourNon Central weighed in with, the source of the DDoS attack on the United States is currently unknown. We speculate it may be China, as the situation between South and North Korea is currently deteriorating. I kind of was starting to get the creeping feeling that something bad was about to happen, if it wasn't already happening. Because, with everything that's already going on, worldwide pandemic, protests, civil unrest, police violence, more police violence, looting, more police violence, pandemic making a comeback. It's back, everybody, like the McRib. It was easy to assume the worst. So after about an hour or so of trying to avoid Twitter, I wasn't able to find any reputable news outlets reporting any new info, and it just felt suspiciously quiet. Then the power went out. As everything around me it just died, I'm like, did the power grid go down because of an attack? Do I have any cash on me? What if credit cards stop working? Do I have supplies? In a matter of seconds, I went from scrolling through Twitter to just thinking, is the world ending? And then it happened. The power came on 5 seconds later. A couple minutes after that, all those security texts that I didn't get before, ding, 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 they all popped up on my phone. I scroll over to Twitter again, and there it was. T-Mobile was back up, and they said the problem was on their end, and it wasn't an attack. So now that the world wasn't ending, news started developing across the board and filling in the gaps. Verizon, Sprint, and AT&T weren't actually down, and people on these carriers actually were having trouble reaching T-Mobile customers, so they assumed that their own network was down, and that's what they were reporting, and that's why everything spiked on Down Detector. Since then, T-Mobile's explained why their network went down. A fiber circuit went down, and then the backup circuit went down. That's it. It's nothing crazy or nefarious. I tried digging up info about this DDoS attack, and there's not a whole lot out there. This article says there was no DDoS attack. And then I saw this article on Wednesday and was like, oh shit, that's a bad attack. But as I was reading it, they're talking about an incident in February of 2020. So what was up with all those scary maps? Well, there's always a lot of attacks going on. Look at all these real-time maps. These I captured on Wednesday, all within a couple minutes of each other, 2 days after the supposed DDoS attack on America. And it's kind of normal. Scary, this one looks like a T-Mobile commercial, this one looks like fucking war games. And if we do that one that rando posted on Monday side by side with Wednesday, it's not much of a difference. And if you look at that map that YourNon Central posted on Monday, here's the same site I grabbed on Wednesday, side by side, and it does look like the world's still ending, just differently. The lines are, in a different spot. So there's a couple takeaways here. The first one is, you got to find reputable news sources. I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to Phil. It's like, hey Phil, check your shit. I know the world is weird ever since the garbage term fake news rose to prominence, gee, I wonder why. And with the contentious relationship between Trump and the media, it's commonplace for anyone to just, look at something that they disagree with and be like, it's fake news. Tweets aren't usually from reliable sources. It doesn't mean they're wrong, it just means they might not be fact-checked like the actual news should be. So when Ted Lieu, an elected official in the state that I live in, says there's a DDoS attack happening, I believe him. But it looks like he wasn't quite as informed as I hoped. So it's a bummer. Twitter's cool, but you can't accept information on it as reality for the same reason you can't, list Wikipedia as a source when you're writing a term paper. What you can do is scroll to the bottom of the wiki article and look at the sources and, look at those and see, hey, are these reliable? Same thing on Twitter. The tweet comes from a rando or someone who doesn't have a source or a dubious agenda or, you're a non-central, Phil, keep scrolling. The other thing I realized here is that sometimes it's best just to look away. Thinking back to those 5 seconds after the power went off, my mind just started going and going. I realized this is why dogs bark at fireworks. They're freaked out because their instincts tell them to be freaked out because they know usually what's happening is a bad sign. The internet going down, the power going down, the phones going down, that's fireworks to me. I said it earlier, we're in the middle of a pandemic, people are marching in the streets, and the US is debatably the most politically divided it's been in like decades. And with all the stuff going on, and it looks like the infrastructure, the internet is under attack, yeah, that's fireworks. So it's not just healthy to assault your dumb brain with dumb, uninformed people speculating on Twitter, trying to get, retweets and shit. So here's the thing. You personally may not have known any of this happened. Maybe you were napping or at work or eating a meal or talking to a human being, and you probably didn't even assume the world was ending. You were going about your day. Meanwhile, I'm here like freaking the fuck out. So yeah, it's okay to look away for an hour, and that's maybe the best thing that you can do for yourself if you're ever having an issue, because I don't know about you, but it's kind of stressful if you follow the news cycle or if you're doing research for something like this or if you're just a lunatic like I am. So even now on Thursday when it's all back to normal, my blood pressure is still going through the roof with this fucking idiot out here killing net neutrality, letting telecoms merge and run wild, tweeting this faux outrage as he grabs his FCC pearls. This guy is the fucking worst. So I'm going to take my day, and I'm not going to look at any more news. And, oh, God, I just wish I could, I just wish that for Ricky and Elliot. Man, you guys should look away someday. Just look away.
All right, man. Thank you, Phil. Thank you so much for filling us in on the T-Mobile story. Luckily, I never used my phone as a phone, so
yeah.
I didn't even realize it.
It's a little pocket computer.
Could have missed a couple calls.
Voice calls? Ugh, rude. Silence.
Hey.
Screen call.
Yeah, T-Mobile did the dirty work for me by not letting the call through.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for joining us. We'll be back very soon for a new episode of News Dump. Until then, check out our other videos over here, and we will see you very soon.
And stay tuned for our masks.
Oh, yeah, go run and get one really quick. Hold on. Just stay right there. The videos will pop up. Just stay with us. Look, you're not doing anything anyway. I'm just hanging out with you right now. It's just me. Here he comes. Elliot's got the mask on. It says Internet Today on it. You're wearing it a little bit wrong. I'm not going to touch your face. But it does have a thing that goes over your nose and under your chin so you don't have any mistakes by letting it droop down. Because when people let it droop down and they have the dick nose, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not assholes. They just, hey, your mask slipped down. Say something nice. Anyways, those will be on sale soon. The money goes to No Kid Hungry, which is a nice charity. And that's it for today. Watch the videos over here. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.